And this next fight coming up in the women's bantamweight division, 54 kilograms. And it's the Philippines' Aira Villegas versus Vongpachan Vilayphone of Laos. And the judges for this fight from Taipei, from Sri Lanka, Singapore, South Korea, and Malaysia. Again, as we mentioned previously, there are 12 referees and judges being rotated for assignments throughout this boxing competition. 8 weight divisions in the men's category and 5 weight divisions in the women's category. So 13 gold medals at stake in boxing at the 30th edition of the Southeast Asian Games. 10 countries are involved, and the only country not participating in boxing is Brunei. And here is Aira Villegas, also known as Ayang. She is from Tacloban, Leyte, and she's 24 years old. In the 2017 Asian Championships, she lost to the Vietnam fighter. In the 2019 Championships, she made it to the quarterfinals. And Ayang Villegas is hoping to advance in the bantamweight division of boxing in the Southeast Asian Games. Again, we want to mention that in the 2019 World Championships, Villegas was a quarterfinalist, and she also took a silver medal in the 2019 Stranja Cup in Bulgaria. Here we go with our fighter from Laos, Vongpachan Vilayphone. She is fondly called Yod. Her father is a boxer, and she turns 28 years old on December 12th. She is from the army, and she is the Laotian champion. For Villegas, this is her first fight in the Southeast Asian Games. But for Yod, the fighter from Laos, this is her third appearance in the Southeast Asian Games. She won a bronze medal in 2013, and she lost in the quarterfinals in the 2015 Southeast Asian Games. So it's going to be a very interesting fight between Yod of Laos, otherwise known as Vongpachan Vilayphone, and Ayang Aira Villegas of the Philippines.
And a pair of veterans going up against each other here in this particular battle, as the boxing competitions just unfolding here today, starting off on the, I think this is the 4th day of competition of the Southeast Asian Games here in the Philippines.
But the first day for boxing, and a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement surrounding the boxing competitions.
And because you had mentioned that 10 of the 11 countries have participants here, have delegates here.
That's right,
and
it's a
course,
star-studded cast.
And as usual, it's the Philippines against Thailand, 2 of the dominant countries here. Igarashi of Japan is our 3rd man in the ring.
Well, in the boxing competition, Vietnam also has 10 fighters in the mix, and Thailand also has 10 fighters. Here we go, Aira Villegas in the red, and Yod Vilayphone of Laos in the blue.
And Vilayphone gets tagged here, and I think it's a standing 8.
It's the first standing 8 count that we've seen called in the boxing competition, but that was a solid connection, and the Japanese referee always given a priority to protect the fighters under duress.
Aira Villegas knocking in and nailing that first standing 8, and Aira has been aggressive so far. The Laotian fighter still reeling from that barrage earlier, was clinching, and Villegas now shifting her attention, moving well around the ring.
And you know, the difficulty of amateur boxing is that the fights are in the afternoon and you're weighed in for every fight in the morning. So it's not like professional boxing where the weigh-ins happen the day before, and you can sort of recover overnight and get back some pounds that you might have lost in trying to make weight. But in amateur boxing, you've got to stay consistently at that weight level. Otherwise, you won't make the cutoff.
And both fight, and look at this. Vongpachan Vilayphone beginning to counter here. She may have taken out some of the cobwebs from that early attack by Villegas.
I don't think you can sell this Laotian fighter short. She took a standing 8 count earlier, but she's come back. I think Villegas was a little bit stunned.
Yes,
with that flurry earlier.
I think that the fact that the Vongpachan has managed to roar back here. Villegas with the standing 8 earlier scored against Vilayphone with a minute to go here in this first round.
Now again, just to familiarize those watching this boxing match, we saw a standing 8 count, but that does not give the round automatically to the Filipino fighter. It's not like in professional boxing, but when you get a standing 8 count or a mandatory 8 count or a knockdown, it's an automatic 10-8. And if it's multiple knockdowns, you could go 10-7 or even 10-6.
To a large extent, it ends up as just 1 point.
That's right. In amateur boxing, a standing knockdown or a standing 8 count will just count for 1 point, just like a clean shot that you will score without a knockdown.
But the effects can be large and extremely enormous against the fighter who suffered that standing 8, confidence-wise.
Yes, and also the fact that when you're given a standing 8 count, it means that you've been hurt.
Or we're about to be hurt even more.
Yes.
As the round ends, Villegas getting a standing 8 there, and both fighters repaired to their corners. Let's take another look. I think it was at this moment that referee Igarashi made his call and decided.
Yeah, it was a flurry of punches, but I thought there was that one punch. I thought it might have been a right hand that connected solidly on her face.
3 of them won gold medals in that particular.
Right. Elias Recaído and Onyok Velasco are the other 2.
Aira Villegas of the Philippines against Vongpachan Vilayphone of Laos.
Nice combination punching coming from Aira Villegas.
Given all that we've said, Villegas probably clearly won that first round.
I thought so.
In the meanwhile, Villegas gets a caution, a warning, and a good combination coming out of that session with the referee.
Well, you like the power of Villegas' punches. When she throws her 1-2 combination, I think her left hand packs as much power as her right.
And she knows how to shift her attention from the top and then later on to the bottom.
And the Laotian fighter is not able to stop the flow of the combination
she has
punching.
No idea where the punches are coming from.
Yeah, Ayang Villegas doing an excellent job in throwing those 1-2s.
And she's patient. She waits for the right moment to uncurl or unfurl her punches. She uses that right hand as her lead and then darts in. She has a very frisky pair of hands, actually, constantly moving.
I think Yod of Laos is showing a little too much respect for Ayang Villegas.
That might be it.
Yeah. So she's a little tentative in coming closer.
She was beginning to get going in the second half of the first round, but has sort of ebbed and faded out at this juncture. Throws a combination that just grazes Villegas, and no spinning allowed, says referee Igarashi.
And Villegas fighting out of the southpaw stance. You're doing an excellent job throwing that right jab followed by that left straight. And she has been connecting with remarkable accuracy.
Of late, Filipino women boxers have been really making their mark in the international boxing rings. Villegas now punishing Vongpachan Vilayphone.
And this is another dominant round here for Villegas.
She's just firing at will here. As we come into the last 37 seconds of the second.
And you notice that Yod is now a little bit wary of moving inside.
Because she's getting tagged.
Exactly. She's getting hurt. She's getting hurt, and those combinations are landing. Oh, nice shot coming from Villegas.
Even from a distance, Villegas is knocking it in. Oh, look at
And
that
look at that
combination by Villegas. Downstairs, then upstairs.
You know, the good thing also about Villegas is when she throws her combinations, she takes a step back. So before her opponent can recoil and regroup, it's very clear that she's already done damage.
And the second round dropping its curtains as we have action from that round.
There's that combination.
Clear. Oh, that's very clear.
Yeah. See, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
She's back at it right away.
And then look, she takes a step back. So before her opponent can recoil and try to counter, Villegas is already several steps away. And he's probably telling her, you've got to do a lot more than what you did in the first 2 rounds.
Everything here in the third.
Give it all you've got. Otherwise, we're going home.
2:50 and 10 seconds into this final round of the boxing competition, first day here in the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
And that right hand lead of Villegas, it's a strong punch.
And she's oozing with confidence.
Yeah.
And look at the combinations, just knocking that in.
And you know, Villegas is not even throwing the right jab. She's throwing a right hook and a right straight.
Right away, because she knows she's gonna nail it. She's already measured the distance, actually. Aira Villegas of the Philippines against Vongpachan, Vilayphone of Laos, and our Japanese referee cautioning the fighters.
And right now, Villegas is outclassing her opponent.
Dominating.
Yeah,
really.
this is a dominant fight for Villegas.
Look at that. She has already measured the distance. If I stay at this point, I'm going to hit it anyway. And her hands in constant motion.
What I think also the Laotian fighter is a sucker for the overhand right of Villegas, and that's why Villegas is not throwing the jab.
And the referee telling them, okay,
let's see a little more action.
Mix it up, ladies. And the referee can do that.
Yeah.
And they oblige.
That left arm of Yod often goes down, and so it's a perfect opening for Ayang Villegas to score that looping right hand. Not much Yod can do to stave off Villegas. This is an excellent performance for the Filipino fighter. In the women's bantamweight division, there are only 5 contestants in this division.
So it's a very small bracket
That's right.
Talking about here.
Earlier we saw fighters in the women's light flyweight division, and that division has 7 competitors. This one only has 5.
So one drew a bye here, and 4 others had to mix it up.
But in today's calendar, only 1 women's bantamweight fight is scheduled.
And with 7 seconds to go, Aira Villegas looks well on her way to a rousing victory. But she's not yet done. She's punishing her opponent.
Wow, what a flurry. What a way to end the fight with a flourish. And now a smile coming from the Laotian coach.
But didn't you like the sophistication in which our Japanese referee officiated that fight?
I thought so.
He was so elegant in managing that battle.
I also thought that he really sought to protect both fighters,
That's a very good point.
particularly the Laotian.
Especially with that not quick, but exact standing 8 count early.
Did you see that Laotian fighter raise her her foot rather?
It looked like a Muay Thai move, really.
I was just about to say that maybe she has a Muay background.
Yes, I think she does. I think she
her father actually is a boxer, not a Muay Thai fighter, but also a boxer.
Sometimes in Laos and in Thailand, there's hardly a difference sometimes.
Right.
But Aira Villegas looks like she is on her way to a unanimous decision. But let's listen.
is the unanimous decision victory by Aira Villegas of Tacloban. And that was a dominant performance against the bronze medalist of the 2013 SEA Games. And you take a look at the shutout. It's a 5-0 shutout. We talked about it being a dominant performance, and the judges saw it the same way.